Welcome to the Kong Hackathon of 2025. My name is Kevin Height, and I'm a principal software engineer for Cox Automotive. The project I'll be sharing is a set of plugins that provide a no-code MCP proxy solution. All you need is an OpenAPI spec, and you're ready to go. Before we get into the fun demo stuff, we have to get through the boring slides. Let's talk about the two plugins that make up this project. The MCP server plugin lives at the global level and handles incoming MCP requests, method routing, OAuth validation, and tool aggregation. The MCP tool plugin is registered under individual routes and handles OpenAPI parsing, tool generation, and access control. Tool names are made up of a tool prefix set in the tool plugin, along with a method and a simplified path for each endpoint. The tool description, which is important to the LLM, is based on either the summary or description of the endpoint, with auto-generated text as a fallback if those fields are missing. Here's the entire end-to-end flow of the process. Most of what you see is standard, based on the official MCP spec. Custom parts for this project include generating tools from the registered API specs, filtering the list of tools based on user permissions, routing tool executions to the correct API method from the spec, and wrapping the result to return to the client. On the left, you can see what the MCP client experiences when it tries to connect and gets rejected for not having a JWT. On the right, you see what an OAuth protected resource request returns, which tells the client where to go for the auth code flow. Now, let's look at MCP tool filtering. If OAuth is set up and enabled, you can configure each MCP tool to only be accessible if certain JWT claim conditions are met. These conditions can involve one or more values from any number of claims, meeting your specific access control needs. You can set defaults for the entire API spec and specify endpoint-specific access based on the operation ID. Here we have the two users used for the demo, along with decoded versions of their JWTs. Tommy Tester on the left is a regular user with only 2 permissions and will see 6 tools in total. Super Great Admin Guy is an admin with 2 additional permissions. He'll see 4 extra tools, making 10 in total. Here you see the tool list calls from both users. As expected, Tommy gets 6 tools, while Admin Guy gets 10. Now let's take a look at the 4 different OpenAPI specs registered in their respective MCP tool plugins, and the tool metadata that each one produces. First up is a generic requestcatcher.com spec used to show that requests are actually being forwarded outside of the Kong ecosystem as expected. These tools are public and don't require any permissions. Next, we have another public tools API that also connects to requestcatcher and is public. Honestly, I can't remember why I wanted 2 public examples, but here we are. Then there's the widgets API, which offers up some generic objects I call widgets. This one has a more thorough summary, so the tool description is more useful to the LLM. This tool requires the invoke gateway permission, which both users have. And finally, the most interesting API, the Kong Admin API. It's set up to call the status and metrics endpoints of the local gateway admin API, providing useful info to the LLM. These tools require Kong read and Kong write permissions, so only the admin user can access them. Enough of the PowerPoint. Let's see some demos. Our demo is a side-by-side MCP experience comparison, with Tommy Tester on the left and Super Admin Guy on the right. Connecting to the server begins the auth code flow process. After logging in, you can see that Tommy only has 6 tools at his disposal, while admin has 10. Because both users have the same widgets access, the widgets result from their LLMs is relatively the same. However, since admin has access to Kong admin tools, when asked about the status and metrics of Kong, the LLM for each user will try to solve it differently because of the difference in the tool list. You can see the admin user is given much more in-depth Kong info. Thank you so much for watching.